Hello, everybody. I'm a bit old school, and I did a printout because I'm not very good with this stuff, right? Okay, so I'm the founder, the editor-in-chief, the creative director of Twin Magazine. Twin Magazine is a fashion magazine. I guess at the beginning, I always had a dream to have my own magazine because I had worked at lots of other magazines like Vogue and Harper's Bazaar and 10 magazine and Wallpaper magazine. And after working for lots of people, I wanted to work for myself. I also did Lula magazine, and I had a dream to have my own magazine, so one that represented me a little bit more, one that was kind of maybe tomboyish, that had sort of masculine and feminine sides to it, one that was open-minded to race, gender, and sexuality, one that had a slightly feminist theme but wasn't rammed down your throat. And it was actually before all those other magazines that came out like that as well, like ones that I love and admire, like Gentle Woman and things like that. So we kind of came out mid-2009, around the same time as the It's Nice That Boys as well. That's how I met them. And I gathered together a group of lovely, like-minded women, 5 women who are still with me to this day, which is a really nice, close group, and we work really well together. And this is what we did for the first issue. I had this idea to do it was just kind of like a black moleskin sketchbook that I was carrying around with ideas, and I ended up making it look like a black moleskin. I wanted it to be leather and expensive, but I couldn't really because I didn't have all that money. So it looked quite nice, but and it was my handwriting on the front, Twin. And the idea was to make it more of a book that was big and hardback that you wouldn't be able to throw away like all those magazines that you have. It was a bit more traditional in design. It had chapters like a proper book, and it was called Twin because it was twinning of minds and twinning of people. So when I did the first one, I thought I was clever, and I thought I was rebelling by not putting a picture of somebody on the front cover, which was just a stupid idea because I had to put people on the cover to try and make some money and sell it. So I thought I was rebelling, but I was just being silly. So then I changed my mind when I got to issue 5. Did well to last to issue 5. When I got to issue 5, I thought, oh God, I better put somebody on the cover. So Agnes Dean got put on the cover there, the green one. She wasn't a bad starter, I suppose. And I just kind of decided to make it look like a little Polaroid because I was a big fan of film, not a huge digital fan, so I still loved the old school film. So it was a little Polaroid, and then it had the person's name scribbled into it. Again, fan of handwriting. But the main thing about having a magazine is that you get to work with amazing people. You get to meet lots of amazing people. So photography is my passion. I love photography. And I've had the pleasure of working alongside lots of lovely other photographers, people like Boo George, Lachlan Bailey, Scott Trindle, Ben Weller, Nick Dorry. All these people have kind of worked with us from the beginning, and they still work with us now, 5 years down the line. So it's really good to kind of develop these relationships with people and grow with these people. Also, we have amazing models in the magazine, which helps sell the magazine, something that I had to realise a little bit more. People like Agnes Dean, Sam Rowlingson, Freya Bayer Eriksson, Edita V, Drake Burnett, and Cathy Nesher. Also, you get to work with lots of amazing, young, talented people. So this is one thing that we do lots of time. We sort of feature all these bright young things. So no doubt lots of you in this room are going to be featured or will be featured at some point. Just great, hot, young British talent, really, because there's so much of it around in London. So it's great to work with these people. People like Sean Frank, who's a video director, doing very well, working with lots of big-name fashion brands at the moment. Phoebe Collins-James, his girlfriend, is an artist and now a Vogue darling. Aaron Morel is another one. Jessie Kander, graphic designer, like most of us in the room are. Harriet and Polly, who've got a lovely brand called Drawing Light. Olympia Campbell, just for being beautiful. Josh Bush, just because he can ride a BMX. Okay, so clients. My day job as well is working in advertising with brands like Nike and commercial clients. So the idea with this was to try and not be commercial. Again, it doesn't always succeed. You end up having a plan and diverting it slightly. So I didn't want to put traditional advertising in there. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So again, trying to be anti-advertising, but ending up being a bit like advertising. I try to do more of these subtle ads, which I call end pages, which is sort of the beginning double page spread and end double page spread, which are essentially still paid for to an extent, but they're kind of creating a lovely image rather than just the bog standard ads that you see in every other magazine. Some of the other clients that we work for are really big brands like Louis Vuitton, which is great to work with them, but it can be difficult sometimes. But this shoot in particular was interesting. I guess they come to Twim magazine because they want us to do something a little bit different. I guess we wouldn't do something that they'd maybe do in, say, Vogue magazine. So this is a photographer called Colin Dugeson, and he's from California originally. And we talked about this Louis Vuitton collection. In the Louis Vuitton collection, there was lots of this check, which, you know, we discussed about. He was like, oh, it's like your British ambulance on the side, you know, the kind of pattern. So like, right, so let's do the shoot where she's kind of dead and been shot and looks like she's been run over. And I get a phone call from Louis Vuitton saying, Becky, we've got a bit of a problem with the shoot. We don't think we like it. She looks a bit stoned off her face. I was a bit like, that's a bit awkward. What do you do? Anyway, I managed to convince them. It was brilliant. It was genius. And that when they come to us, this is what they get. And yeah, they loved it in the end. They went with it. And I got a nice little Louis Vuitton handbag out of it, so I was happy. So, yeah, we loved the shoot. There was two that I ended up taking out. They did persist, and there was one where it looked like she was doing a wee on the floor or something. It was maybe pushing it a bit too far, but it's great that we can kind of do things like this with big brands like that, which leads me to being playful with things, which I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, I can't flick paper fast enough. Which leads me to playfulness, which we did this shoot, which I guess was inspired by this image, which is a real street-style picture of somebody who I thought was genius. You know, they couldn't afford a Chanel bag, so they made one out of paper, and I just thought that was so bloody cool. So we did a whole shoot based on it, and Harry Moult completely replicated these big, very expensive designer handbags out of just basic brown old, you know, bog standard paper, which was quite nice. And we kind of put little art notices on there as if it was kind of high-end art. Another person that we've collaborated with has been Gary Card. At the time, there was kind of all that phenomenon on YouTube with those kind of sloths, kind of like just kind of mooching around, not doing much. So he made some out of plasticine, which were genius, and they had lots of little cute faces that looked like E.T. We gave them silly names like Duncan and Bernard, and we put lots of very expensive high-end jewellery with them from Tiffany and etc., which cost a fortune. It was quite hard selling that one in as well to the brands. And another one that we did was illustrations of the big fashion people, you know, people like Karl Lagerfeld. We did kind of like a metamorphosis of them turning into their product. And I had a meeting with Burberry at the time and showed them this, and they talked to me about his hairdo for about half an hour. They said it wasn't spiky anymore and it was a little bit more combed down, and they sent me 5 or 6 pictures thinking that I would change it. I just ignored them. So yeah, we kind of did that, which was quite fun. Another thing that we do in the magazine is we feature, lots of amazing women, old and young. And in the issue that's currently out at the moment, we've kind of just looked back and kind of just remembered who those women are, because 5 years has gone by very quickly. So the first issue, we had a Freya Bayer Eriksson, who's one of the biggest, like, top 5 models in the world, which was a pretty good start. We've also had Viv Albertine, who's one of Hedy Slimaine's favourites. She was a guitarist in the band called The Splits back in the day. She's very cool. And then we've also had Marsha Rowe, who did the original feminist magazine called Spare Rib. Gia Coppola, Kate Tempest, who's an amazing young kind of poet, spoken word artist who did an amazing event for us with Nike, and she kind of just made up these words on the spot with an orchestra there, which is kind of something that I curated with her, which was amazing and mind-blowing at the time. Great women who are knocking on a bit now. Sue Davis, 81, who started the Photographers Gallery. Kathleen Hanna from the original Riot Girls. I'm going too fast now. Grimes, just a cool musician. Cush Jumbo, who did the all-female version of Julius Caesar. Cynthia McAdams, a photographer, again older, but has photographed all the big names from back in the day. So we kind of sometimes hunt down these people. We don't know where they are. We've heard about them. We've read a little something about them, and we find them and we feature them and hopefully get them to do something with us. So this leads me to a collaboration that Danielle Levitt is a photographer that I've worked with quite a few times in the past. We brainstormed some ideas and we talked about doing a modern day Paris is Burning. So I think I've got a little trailer here of something that we discussed doing with them, which I'll try and play.
It's like you could do it alone and it's all cool too, but when you're with the homies and you're all in effect, like you're all giving the visuals, it's just like, it's like that feeling that no one can fuck with you.
Every time I come to New York and I walk through Harlem, like, I get the most love of anywhere I've ever been. They recognize real.
When me and Mel were young kids in the scene, we were like the ratchet kids that nobody wanted around. Like,
it was just me and him, basically.
Yeah, it was me and her against like the world.
I don't give a fuck about no scene. I don't give a fuck if people like us, if they think we're ratchet, if they think we're cool. I don't give a fuck.
Word! Word! YOLO! YOLO!
So yeah, that was a little clip. The actual film that she produced was much longer and very interesting. And the great thing about Danielle is how she really gets under the skin of these people and gets to know them and, you know, becomes best friends with them. But, you know, we discussed this, and obviously Paris is Burning is both of our favourite films. But instead of New York City ballroom, which Paris is Burning is about, we decided to go to the streets of Harlem and kind of find these people. Some of them have gone on to become quite famous people. There's a girl in there called Brooke Candy who's now sort of been in all the Diesel campaigns with Nicola Formanchetta. And they just came out with great quotes in here, which are quite fun, really, and the rest of the shoot, if I can get to it. Is it going to keep going? Men are temporary, but Chanel slingbacks are forever. Happiness is money, pussy and weed. I believe in aliens, bad girls club, Kiara and myself. I have no idea who Kiara is, but it was just a good quote. And the last one I thought was pretty good is, this generation is fucked, but I'm having mad fun. And that's it, really. So we're on all the social media bits, so please follow us or look us up. Thank you very much.